Hi everybody, Nick Blazier here with another position analysis video. This one, maybe because I'm doing it on a video on it, there's a little bit of quiz factor here. And the title too, right? This is a banana split kind of decision. Should we, if you're not familiar with that decision, it's deciding to break a point in your board to hit. Sometimes it's urgent enough to do that. Sometimes that's the best path forward. We saw Sander make a cool play like that in the UBC finals. So what do you think here? Is it called for here? I'll talk a little bit about how to find those kind of decisions. But really quickly, my upcoming tournaments are I'm gonna be in San Antonio in early February here, so right around when this video is coming out probably. And then in March I'm heading to London, so you can see me on site in both those tournaments. I'll be doing remote commentary for the first tournament in Loutraki, Greece. Excited to see how that grows and plays out this year. Should be a really good one. Added money run by Arda, so check that out for sure. Then I'll be going to hang out with Ben Friesen in Virginia in April. So come see me at all these tournaments and let me know what other tournaments you want to see me at. But yeah, back to the position now. So I didn't even consider it over the board, but this is a banana split. And it's a pretty important one. If we look at the next best play, which I just did the sort of natural thing of cleaning up the blots, we give up a whole bunch of equity here. So what's going on in this position where that'll help us actually find this, you know? Because as I've talked about in previous videos, you know, the idea isn't we don't want to just start like breaking our board to hit all the time or think that banana splits are always there. We want to make these plays when we know they're really called for. And the thing that really calls for it in this position, I do believe, is that, well, on one side, we always need urgency to make a banana split play. We really need to like gain a lot from the hit and really fear not hitting. In here, we can see that if our opponent just rolls a 5 or a 6 after this, we're pretty dead. And we might even lose some gammons by not being able to keep timing to preserve our position. You know, it's possible that we'll be pulled off. I mean, actually, we immediately have some 6s that are forced off our anchor. And then maybe we're getting blitzed. And we have a 5-point board to protect us for now, but that's a pretty scary outcome. So there's a lot of urgency, and our opponent just like effectively wins when they get to escape. The follow-up on our attack after this maybe isn't so strong either. So yeah, it looks bad when we just play quiet and let our opponent play their role. Maybe even better, somehow they could just make the 18 point and we could be dead that way, you know? So a lot of scary things that can happen when we don't hit. The other thing I see here is that after the best play, after the banana split, this is generally requisite, but sometimes we can even do it without this. We can see that we're still going to have a stronger board after this than our opponent. They're going to have a 3-point board. We're going to have the same rack plus the ace point. So in a lot of senses, I guess like you can think about it in terms of game plan favoring the attack here in a sense. I mean, with 3 back, it's not so good, but we're under more priming threat than he is. And when we attack, he's under more being closed out threat than we are, since we have an anchor and a better board. But yeah, so a lot of times we can make banana split plays when the resulting position still ends up with us having a better board. And the last small thing that I see is that our opponent has a blotting board. So when we do get hit, there's going to be a lot of opportunities to potentially go hit that checker too. Now that can go both ways. If almost everything that enters and hits is also going to turn that blot into a point, for example, then it's working against us. But here, it's only a 3 that'll cover, and 3's already entering to hit. So only a 2-3 maybe, and a 2-3 would have been hitting something or hitting twice anyway. So not too much risk in ending up against a 4-point board here, and we'll still have our anchor. So we have a lot of signs pointing towards a banana split that I wasn't able to pick out over the board, unfortunately. But so talking about those features, how could we change this into a position then where the banana split would not be okay? Well, I think a really simple change then is to just cover this ace point blot. And in this case, now we will have equal boards when after the hit, and we don't have the extra vig of going to hit that checker. And so it gets a lot scarier. And now the banana split is a big mistake. We can't afford to do it. And so it's very important to see here too, like how dramatic of a mistake it is to make the banana split. You know, it was a pretty large mistake to not go for it in the original position, But notice that like when we're wrong about it, we're going to be very wrong about it too. And there's a lot of them where it'll be very close. So that's one variance where we wouldn't want to do it. Another one, we can toy with the urgency. So what if instead we had like a prime, more of that potential? We weren't already committed back to this ace. We had a little more flexibility. But like more than anything, after we make our play, our opponent might still have trouble escaping our structure. We might be able to attack more safely later, right? There's a whole lot less urgency here in going for the banana split. And so in this position, we don't need to hit inside there either. We can even make a bold play like playing in and not playing completely safe 8 to 7, 8 to 5, and step up and try to find more mobility for escape, reinforce our 22. There's some 6 duplication and things like that. But here's not the place to go for the attack off the edge. Even though we have at least an equal board, I mean, that's part of it again, and our opponent has a blot behind. Well, here we were doing pretty okay when we just left our opponent on the edge of structure in this resulting position, right? So there's a lot less like blitz value to it that way. Yeah, so those are a couple variants that can help you find it. I hope those rules of thumb about when to go for it make a lot of sense. If I remember the position correctly in the Sander one, I mean, these can also come up when we just desperately don't want our opponent to anchor to save the gammon, something like this. If our opponent has like no points in board, then it gets a lot easier to do. And again, if you just always think about like, it's time to go for the banana split when I have a board advantage and there's some desperation to it. There's some urgency there. That's when you want to make these kinds of plays. And they're really exciting ones in backgammon, you know? So, it feels good when you find one over the board for sure. Wish I could have found this one. Maybe next time, if I'm more attentive about it, I'll be able to make this best play. I hope I help you find it in the future, though, too. All right. Thanks for now. I'll be back with more of these soon. Bye, everybody. Hi, everybody. Nick Blazier here.